This is Prepared to Qualify, and I'm Troy, and I appreciate you watching. This is a newer channel, so just wanted to let you know a little bit about what we do here. My sole purpose is to enjoy the IndyCar racing season, enjoy the races, cover the races, talk about maybe a few things, but also look at the sponsors that keep our sport going. It's very important that we have sponsors, that we have good sponsors, that we have long-term sponsors. But these sponsors have to get something back for it. They invest a lot of money in putting their name on the side of a car or sponsoring a race or sponsoring the entire series, and they want to get something back for it. And when they don't, and when they don't realize that they're getting anything back, they go away. And that's a big problem. I mean, if I owned a race team and I had a really good sponsor, and one day I walked into the office and that sponsor decided to go and put their money elsewhere, it would be devastating. And that happens all the time. So I don't know how these teams, especially some of the ones that aren't at the very top as far as expenditures and revenue, I don't see how a lot of these teams do it. I don't see how they make it. So I want to help them. I love the sport. I started watching it when I was a young kid. I was instantly hooked. I've been obsessed with it probably since 2005, because I go to the other motorsports. I go to other races and I see bigger crowds and better merchandising and better marketing and things like that. And it irritates me to no end, because I know that the product that IndyCar puts on the track is better than both. All the other sports, motorsports combined. I love the races. I can't wait for them to start. It's probably why I got so upset last weekend when I was sitting there ready to watch the race, and then Fox decided that, we're going to keep the Live Golf Tour on. And we have a playoff between the top two individuals, and we also have a playoff between the teams. So I was like, well, that's great. And so I was throwing things, yelling, screaming, and I want to apologize to everyone that may live around me. I will try to never do that again. But yes, I was very upset. But once the race came on, it was a great race, I thought. I'm just so sad that there's only two left, and we'll get into that later. But congratulations to Will Power,
but with the drive
and
of a champion
Penske,
today,
which I'm a big fan of.
Asks the question, Captain,
and I'm just so happy that they finally got a win. And Will Power deserved it. I mean, he drove his tail off, qualified well, he didn't make any mistakes. I mean, he drove a really solid Will Power Team Penske race. And the question's been all week, or for the last few months, for most of the coverage that I've watched on IndyCar, is that Will Power still doesn't know if he's going to be back at Team Penske next year. And I'm tending to lean to the point that I don't think he is. So Will Power has definitely been Team Penske's best driver during the last year or year and a half, I would say. But that doesn't mean anything. Team Penske's been horrible. This isn't Team Penske this year. I mean, it's a total anomaly. The fact that Will Power won a race and all of a sudden gets like super cocky, I didn't really, find that warranted at all. And I think he's kind of hurting himself. I don't think that Penske's going to re-sign him. And it may not be due to the fact that Penske doesn't like Will Power or doesn't think that Will Power can win anymore. I think Verizon may be done with Will Power. I mean, Verizon has been the sponsor of Will Power's car over 10 years. And they've done a great job. I mean, they used to actually be a title sponsor of the entire series. So, I mean, they've been committed to IndyCar, and my gosh, we appreciate that. And if they want Will Power to move on, and they've kind of had enough, and maybe they're not getting the same return that they got when he was a little bit younger and a little bit more jovial and funny and saying kind of cute things or whatever, and now he's just turned into being grumpy all the time and acting like that, somebody else did something wrong. I mean, he's had some real questionable behavior during the last year, moving other drivers' cars with his, like Kyle Kirkwood in Detroit.
And Georgia has leapt straight in there.
Well, he said, I already know what you're going to ask me, but we did get Will Power's perspective on the moment. So I'd like to hear your perspective on the push.
I don't know. Everyone's going slow around here. The track's not big enough to fit all the cars, and he got frustrated. I mean, whatever, I guess. Is it give him the right to push my car through a couple corners and almost cause a wreck? I don't think so. But yeah, and right here, Malukas is right in front of me. Like, I can't really do much, and he's just shoving me along. So everyone stopped. So I don't know. I'm not upset. I don't care. We're P1. But at the same time, I expect IndyCar to do the right thing with that. I'm sure that they'll do something.
That was the most insane thing I've ever seen. Throwing out F-bombs in live press conferences like last weekend.
If you're actually waiting, it's like, yeah, is this guy, I'm not sure if this guy's good enough. Just go back to last year.
I mean, I have to give him credit. I mean, I didn't see that one coming. I mean, I'm just watching the press conference and wow, here comes an F-bomb from Will. And it was, I understand what he meant by it, but still, it's just the point that he used to not do that kind of stuff. And now he doesn't care. And so I think Verizon really is maybe kind of done with him. I might be wrong, but just reading, interviews that I've heard, reading what the participants are saying, what Team Penske's saying, what Will Power's saying, what the Fox announcers are saying about what they know, what other YouTube and social media platforms are saying. They all think all they think is, wow, how could Team Penske even think about getting rid of Will Power? He's their best driver, and they're not very good this year. It doesn't matter. This isn't a real year for Team Penske. They know they got to get it back together, and they will. And next year they'll be better. And I don't think it's going to be with Will Power. I think he's done at Team Penske. I like Will Power, and I'm really glad that he won. I mean, I had a few tears in my eyes when he won. Every time I see Liz and him, kiss after the race, and I see her, stressing out with a few laps to go. I mean, it's part of the sport. I mean, I love that. But he needs to, chill out a little bit and be a little bit more appreciative. I mean, he hasn't been that great. Yeah, he's had a few poles during the last couple years and a few wins, but he's nowhere near the driver that he was or as dominant, and neither is Joseph Newgarden or Scotty McLaughlin. So, the whole team, I don't really think that's a reason to keep Will Power, is to say that Will Power is Team Penske's best driver. It doesn't really matter to Team Penske. And I think Verizon, may have had some closed-door deals. I mean, Team Penske definitely doesn't want Verizon to leave as the primary sponsor of that car, the number 12 car. So it's important that they stay. And I might be wrong, but I am ready to see a new driver in the third car for Team Penske. I love Will Power, but I think maybe some other teams would appreciate him a little bit more now. I mean, I laugh at him. He's funny. And, I forgot to say is that I actually met Will Power a long time ago when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for a couple years. And me and my son were playing golf one day. And Will Power and AJ Allmendinger were playing in front of us or behind us or whatever. And, of course, I recognize them, especially I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina as an IndyCar fan, which is one of the hardest things anybody could ever do. But I recognized AJ Allmendinger and Will Power immediately because they both drove for Team Penske's IndyCar team. Nobody else out there in Charlotte knew who they were. So when I saw them in front of me and behind me, I said, hey guys, you guys Team Penske drivers for IndyCar? And they're like, yeah. And anyways, they were so cool. They let me and my son play a few holes with them, and they were real chilled out. Will Power was a great guy, and I love him. It's just, I kind of think it's time for him to go. Verizon is a big sponsor, and I mean, he's done a lot for them. They've done a lot for him. It's just maybe time to part ways, get someone new in there. So I really think that's what's going to happen. So look at some of the ratings numbers from this past year, including the last weekend when the Portland race happened. The Portland race actually scored a little over 700,000 fans watching on average during that time period. Obviously some of it had to do maybe with the fact that the race was delayed at the beginning and not on network TV. So that always affects the ratings, especially at the beginning. But it did peak a little bit better than that later in the race towards the end. So it really wasn't that bad. I mean, races like Portland 10 years ago used to get, maybe 500,000 people, which, wasn't horrible. But yeah, with the success of NASCAR and Formula One over the last 5 years, I mean, everything's cyclical, but those two sports, two series have really done well. And I give them credit. There's some good things about them. There's some things I enjoy about them, but they're just not as good as IndyCar. It's not as much fun to watch. Maybe there's better marketing. Maybe the drivers are a little bit more compelling just because there's more social media and things like the Netflix series and stuff like that. But, we can do that, and we do that. IndyCar does that. So, it's important. One of the interesting things I saw, though, looking at the numbers for all the races for 2025, I was really surprised because it was very consistent. I mean, even races like the Thermal Club got, close to around 700,000, and some of the better watched races got around 1 million that weren't the Indy 500. But then you have the Indy 500, which had about 5 million. And peaked around like 6 or 6.5 or something like that. So the Indy 500 did great, and it always does, and we're so lucky to have it. But one of the races that's really surprising me is the ratings were so low was Long Beach. I mean, I've been dying to go to Long Beach. It's one of the few races I haven't been to, and I mean, it got, I think, less than 500,000 people. I don't know if it was up against something like the NCAA tournament finals or something like that, but I would really have thought that Long Beach would have gotten a better rating. To be so much lower than all of the other races is really surprising to me. So that's definitely something that I think the series needs to work on, and I'll work on, and we can all get together and work on. Next year when the race gets closer, we need to have, the crowd at Long Beach was insanely good this year. I mean, it's one of the best. That's why I want to go. It's just, why does nobody watch on TV? That's crazy. So we'll look more into that. But, the ratings are important. They're not everything. But, I mean, that's what sponsors want to see. And that's why we got to be knowledgeable about the ratings. And we got to know areas that we can improve on. Maybe some of the races need to go away. Maybe we need to bring some of them back. We need to look at new venues to get better ratings. It all comes down to the season. I think that's the key. And that's why IndyCar fans get so upset about the schedule. But, I listen to NASCAR radio a lot because I drive for a living and I keep track of Formula One. And their fans complain about the same thing. But, they have 30 races. I mean, we have like 18 or something like that. And next year, hopefully we'll have at least that many. But we need to add a few. It's important. The schedule is important because you need to build momentum leading into Indy. You need to have more races from the middle of February up until May. I mean, there's just no reason to have 2 races. You can't have 3 weeks off at the beginning of the season in between races. I'd rather just not start the season until the Indy 500 than have a race like Thermal Club and then the next one's 3 weeks later. This doesn't make any sense. And I know it's difficult. I mean, I've been in charge of contracts and events and scheduling and things like that. You can't just walk into people's offices and say, hey, we want to do a race in your town on this weekend and here's when it is. I mean, you have to work with people. You have to, you have to offer things and negotiate and stuff like that. But come on, we got to do a better job. I mean, I don't really mind the season being over at the end of August. I mean, I'm sad that it's going to be. But, football season's starting and kids are going back to school and everyone's so busy that it's not that big a deal. I mean, NASCAR and Formula One go on for another couple of months after the end of August. And, it's hard. It's hard to every weekend to wish that we're still racing. But I understand that. But let's at least get the racing and the events put together before the Indy 500. Let's start the season off in February, get it going, and have a full March and a full April with 2 or 3 races each month. And, I think that would really, really help with the ratings to help build momentum into the Indy 500, maybe hold on to more fans after the Indy 500 is over. And, and that's what we need to do. And that's what the sponsors want. And that goes back to the whole key. One of the reasons why I wake up and get out of bed every day is I want to grow the sport. I hate races like Iowa. I've been at Texas Motor Speedway when there was 100,000 fans the first year, and then it was 80 and 70, 60, 50. I mean, the last year I was there 2 years ago, I wanted to cry when I left. I mean, I really did. I mean, there might have been like 12,000 people out there, and the place holds 100 or 100,000 or a little over that. It was just horrible. So I don't ever want that to happen to anybody. The racing was too good. Oh, of course, one of the best races I've ever seen that day at Texas, and like 12,000 people got to see it. And that's what's so crazy about it. I mean, if you live somewhere and you're lucky enough to have a racetrack close to where you live, one, that's awesome. I mean, you should be happy. And two, if you're lucky to have one of the bigger series come to your racetrack, then that's awesome. Even better, you need to go to that race. How can people in Iowa not show up for, they only get 2 or 3 events like that a year in their whole state, and nobody showed up for it. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I started this channel. I want to learn the sponsors. I want to have a relationship with the people that pay the money so that our sport is what it is and can grow. And I think everybody would agree with that from what I can see from all the people that really care. So together we will work on getting more revenue into the sport, growing and competing. I mean, I'm not trying to compete with some of the other series, but I am, you know what I mean? Like that Iowa thing really hurt. And so I still want that to happen anymore. And I'll do whatever I can so that it doesn't. But okay, so this week we're going to highlight a couple of sponsors and try to see what we can do to help grow their business. The first one is the number 10 DHL car for Alex Palou, the IndyCar Series champion. I know he hasn't officially been crowned yet, but congratulations. It's been unbelievable watching him this season, and at times it's been a little boring, but then again, at times it's been sheer greatness. And to have the Indy 500 winner also be this dominant in the other races is really a treat to watch. So congratulations. One of the things that I checked on that's really important, and that's one of what we talked about last week, is that if there's a race coming up and you want to know who the sponsors are going to be, or say you live in the town, you live in the LA area, and you know Long Beach Grand Prix is coming up, so you pull up the race detail on the IndyCar website or on the app and click on the spotter guide. That's the key. It's the spotter guide. It's just going to tell you who all the most current liveries are, because the spotters need to know that. They can't be thinking that one of the cars is going to be the orange car from last weekend and this week it's the blue car. So, they need to know who's going to be on the car. So it's on the spotter's guide. You can go to the spotter's guide and say you wanted to know who DHL was, and then you go to Chip Ganassi Racing, and on their homepage it has their partners, and you click on the DHL and it takes you right to DHL's website, and there's a deal there. How unbelievably great is that? Chip Ganassi marketing. That's insane. It's so good. So yes, make it easy for people. If we want to help out these sponsors, we need some assistance sometimes, so don't make it hard. Go to Chip Ganassi's website, click on the DHL or on the number 10 car. Here's the DHL logo, click on it. It takes you right to the DHL website and save up to 85% on shipping costs. If you want this deal, you click on this button, and it takes you right to the promotion. So brilliant. So that's what every team needs to do, and for the most part they do that. So that's a great job by Chip Ganassi and whoever is running their marketing team. Hope to meet them one day. So when we talked a lot about the Verizon car already, the number 12, Verizon is a huge sponsor of IndyCar. We surely appreciate what they do, and if you have a cell phone or you need a tablet or you have any wireless needs, I suggest you go and check out Verizon and what they have to offer, because they do a great job for our series, and they're one of the best internet service providers in the area that I live in anyway. So they're quite a bit better than the other ones. So that makes it easy too. So yes, thank you to Verizon. Thank you to DHL. One of the things I was going to mention is that the longer I do this kind of unofficial job that I've had for the last, 20 years, is I spread these things around. And yeah, it's not easy. I don't buy a lot of them, and sometimes my company has allowed me to buy them and expense them, to give to customers of, say, like ABC Supply and people like that. But here we go. There is nothing that does a better job promoting the series and getting people to ask questions and talk and go, wow, where do you see those? Is these die-cast cars. They're unbelievable, but they're not on every street corner. They're hard to find. So I have a funny story from this weekend when I went into the Spectrum store to get my cell phone service upgraded, start talking to the people that work there. And we're going to talk about in the next episode. I'm going to do a little role play, because I've been in sales my whole career and I know how to do that kind of stuff. And we're going to have some fun with it. But yes, it's your typical, go into a store, mention that you're a big IndyCar fan, and then people just looking at you like, what? It's frustrating, but we're gonna get you through it, and we're gonna show you just an easy step-by-step approach to just say a few things and then build some interest, and then you follow up on the interest. But if you have one of these that you can get your hands on, or even, sorry, I don't mean to turn around on TV, but even if you can't afford the big one, which is 1/18 scale, then you have the, I think it's 1/64 scale, and it's pretty darn detailed. I mean, all of the same things that are on the bigger car are also on the smaller car. I mean, it's exactly the same. And so I have a Christian Rasmussen 1/64th, and then I have the Pato Award number 5, the 1/18. You know, these run anywhere from like $60 to about $110, $120 if you're not, someone's not marking them up. So Pato Award is very popular. My daughter is a big Pato Award fan. She's a 4th grade teacher. She got a new class this last week, so my gift to her and her new class is going to be this Pato Award diecast. Hopefully it'll last longer than a week or so, and some of the boys won't be driving it off the roof or off one of the ledges or whatever at recess. But anyways, that's my gift to them. And you know what? That's fine, because every one of those little boys and girls in the class is going to ask questions. They're going to remember this car. When they're watching TV with their parents, they go, oh, Dad, Mom, that's the car that my teacher has in their class. Hello? Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 50 or 100, you're the CEO of some company, or you're a mechanic in a garage. Everybody loves these, and they remember them. And so one of my goals is to maybe at some point become some kind of a sponsor liaison between IndyCar and some of the businesses, and come up with some marketing ideas to reward some of the sponsors. I mean, say you signed up, say you were Mission Tortillas and you signed up to be a new sponsor.
Hi, I'm a tortilla.
No, you're supposed to say I want to be something.
Hi, I'm a tortilla and I want to be a chimichanga. Hi.
All the executives that work at Mission Tortillas, I know where Mission Tortillas is. I live in Texas. They're in Dallas and San Antonio. There's factories, places, there's corporate offices. Give some of the people that are in charge, some of the management people, send them a little gift with one of the diecasts. It doesn't have to be the big one. It can be the little one and a hat, and say, hey, thank you for sponsoring, one of our cars for this year. Or, hey, thank you for sponsoring this race in Dallas, or whatever. I mean, that's just what it's going to take. I mean, the sponsors is immediately going to feel like they made a good investment when you send them some of these. They all have them on their desk. It brings up, it brings up questions and conversations. Hey, somebody walks in their store. Hey, wow, that's a cool car. What is it? Oh yeah, well, we sponsor a car in the NTT IndyCar series. It was 4th in the Indy 500 this year. Wow, it happens all the time, but you gotta have something to get the conversation going. And these suckers are the most amazing promotional items on the planet. So I think that whoever makes these diecast cars are genius. We just need to get them to make more. That's all I got to say. So anyways, that's going to be it for the show for this week. So there's not a race the current weekend, but there's 2 left. And the next 2 weekends we have the race in Milwaukee and then in Nashville. So there's going to be a lot of racing stuff to cover. And then we got the long off season. We got plenty of time to talk about all of these companies, the ones that are coming, the ones that are going, the teams that are not going to have a sponsor next year, the teams that are building and growing, and the teams that are kind of struggling to find, revenue streams. We'll talk about all that, and we'll do what we can to help, because we love IndyCar. I appreciate you guys. Thanks to everybody that's helped me get this channel started. Thank you to YouTube for giving people like me the ability to get on here and just go on and on about stuff that they think they know about. And anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next week.